Okay, here am I again, going back over Matthew, the book of Matthew. Last time we left off in chapter 14, and now we're going to touch on chapter 15. I determined I'm going to finish this. I started off, thinking I thought it was, it's easy and I'm going to blow right through it, but there's so much stuff to do. Um, so yeah, here am I back at it again. Um, so Matthew chapter 15. All right, let's go.
Matthew chapter 15. Then some Pharisee and some law teacher come to Jesus from Jerusalem. Them come ask him, say,
what make you follow them? Now hear what we father them teach if you do. Cause them now wash them hand before them yam.
Jesus said to them, say,
and what make you not listen so hard to what no father them say? So till unu no do what God say unu fi do. Cause God say, respect unu father and unu mother. And anybody will cuss out and disrespect them father and mother, kill them. But hear what unu say no? If somebody tell him father and mother say, the help when me woulda give unu, me done give God already. That somebody they no need to do nothing again to show them mother and father no respect. At that unu say, unu no see say, just for follow a phone of father them teach, unu no pay God word no mind. And unu make God law come in like say, it no mean nothing. Unu all hypocrite unu. The prophet Isaiah did right when him say, all them set of people I do, I take them mouth big me up. But in a them heart, them no want have nothing to do with me. And it no make sense them worship me. When them a teach man make rule like say, that a fi me rule.
Then Jesus called the people in which part him there and say,
Hear what me I say, I understand this. When somebody dirty, and no shake what them put in a them mouth. I will come out of them mouth, make them dirty.
Then him follower them come say to him, say,
You know, say the Pharisee them did feel away when them hear what you say. Them take it to heart and vex.
Hear Jesus now.
Every plant where my father in heaven never plant, I go root up. Load them, make them go on. Them are blind people where I lead blind people. If blind, I lead blind. The two of them not bound for drop in a hole.
So Peter say,
the story where you want to tell the Pharisee people them. And what you did mean?
Jesus say,
You mean say, uno still not get what me I say? Uno no see say everything we uno put in on the mouth, go in on the belly first, then come out on the body go in at the toilet. But the sitting them will come out on the mouth, out on the heart them come from, and at them sitting there will make people dirty and not clean in a God's eye. Cause out of the heart all kind of wickedness where people think up come from. When somebody go kill, go sleep with somebody where them not married to, or go on with all kind of other sex sin. When people thief, tell lie, I take them out, tear down other people. At the heart them sitting there come from, at them sitting there make people dirty. When on a yam, and no washing no hand. I know that cause people feel not clean in a God's eye.
All right, so here we see Jesus again confronting the religious people. It's always the religious people. It's not the regular people, people on the street who you're gonna have a problem with. It's always just religious people who think that they are better than you and they know more than you and stuff like that. But here they confront Jesus with something about his disciples, saying, why your disciples not following the tradition that their father set up? And one of the thing that they ask him, or they tell him that your disciples don't wash their hand before they eat the food. Something simple like that. If a man don't feel like wash their hand when they eat their food, that don't cause you not to be accepted by God. God gonna disown you or stuff like that. But You see, that's the kind of thing that they set up in the church. That's the kind of thing that they set up. Well, it wasn't the church then, but it's the kind of thing that they set up and so if you do these things, God will accept you. And we have so many traditions that we set up in the churches, that if you follow this and if you do this, then you will be all right. They set up these burdens and all these things that people can't bear them to carry them, because you can't keep up with all these things that they put in front of you in the church and say, do this and do that, and if you do this and do that and worship this way and walk this way and sing this way and you know, come and church and make sure you give the pastor his money and such a time, and we have this program that you must support, and all these other things that they come up with. So one of the things that these people come up with and say, well, these guys don't wash their hand. So Jesus confronted them and said, hey, it's not about washing your hand, but before you even get to the washing part, he said, then why do you disregard the laws of God for your tradition? Because they're not following the laws of God. They put the laws of God aside, and they're following their traditions. Because one of the things that Jesus drew out to them and said, you tell the people if they're doing this, not to take care of their parents if they're doing church work, or if they give, for instance, if you give money to the church, you don't have to worry about giving money to your parents. You don't have to worry about taking care of your parents if you're giving money to the church. Or if you give him, taking care of the pastor. Don't worry about it. God love you and God will see to that. But he said, you must take care of your parents. So Jesus said, that's not how God set it up. That's not how it was set up. But you guys turn the things around for your own tradition because it suits you. You know what I'm saying? So he said, don't do that. Because you're trying to correct these people for these small things, and you have all these big things that you're breaking, laws that you're breaking that you're not supposed to break. So the disciples didn't understand what he's talking about. They said, they asked him, what is this that you're saying? So you have to break it down to them and say, the food that is food, eating food and stuff like that goes into things that go into your body, that don't defile you. If you're going to eat a piece of pork is not going to cause you to go to hell. If you're going to eat whatever food you decide to eat, or whatever meat you decide to eat, or whatever, that don't cause you to go to hell. Is what comes out of you. Because what comes out of you comes out of your heart. So you see, God don't look at those things. He look at the heart. There's a heart that God sees, the heart of man. And the heart of man is desperately wicked. That's what the scripture said. The heart of man is desperately wicked, and who can know it? You don't even know your own self. If they say, I will never do this, I will not going to do that. And another time you might say, man, baby, I love you, and I love you forever, and blah, blah, and say all the woman certain things, and next the same person who said they love the woman forever turn around and kill the woman, and not just kill the woman in such a vicious way. And one time they were crying blood and whatever, said, I love you to death. Yeah, they love you to death. And you see, they really love them to death because they turn around and kill them. So who can know it? Your heart is so desperately wicked. That's why the heart needs to be changed. That's why David have to say, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. The man don't even know himself until look what he did. If you asked David a while back, he would have said, I will never do such a thing. Even when the prophet confronted him and said, and give him an example, a story, tell him a story about this man with the one sheep and so on, and said, this man deserved. David said, this same David who did that to Uriah, who took Uriah's wife and not just taking wife and sleep with the man's wife, and then have the man killed, put the man in front of the battle, have the man killed. But that same David, when he hear about the man who took the man one sheep that the man have, so that man deserved to die. Deserved to die. And when the prophet Nathan said, you are the man, I believe at the time that is like a peg you put in that man's heart. That man could have just dropped dead right there. So that man could have dropped dead right there. When he heard that. When he heard that, you are the man, David. You are the man. You did it. But he said, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Renew a right spirit within. Let me to hear, I love this one. Let me to hear joy and gladness again, that the bones that were broken can rejoice again. You see, when you step out of line, when you step away from God, you don't longer have that joy that you once have. You can't do the things that you could have done before. If you had stepped out and say, "I'm gonna fight the Goliath would have tear him in pieces." But the joy of the Lord is His strength. The joy of the Lord is our strength. But when we step out of the way, when we sin against God, we lose our joy. A person said, when you sin against God, you don't lose a lot of things, but this one thing you lose your joy. And when you lose the joy, that's a lot of things you lost a lot. That makes sense, right? You don't lose a lot of things, but you lose your joy. But when you lose your joy, you lose a lot of things. All right. So Jesus here confronted this man, confronted these people, and then you have to explain it to his disciples what he meant by it and so on. And then he going down the line, he met another woman who's a Gentile woman. In the book of Matthew, he don't say Gentile, but in the book of Mark explained, give him more detail where this woman, who this woman is, and was, and where she from, where she come from, and all that kind of stuff. But she was a Gentile. That's why Jesus said the Jews always call the Gentile dogs, and that's one of the description for them. Don't ask me why they call them dogs, but here we go, and listen to this one.
After Jesus left the so, him go in at the Tyre and Sidon area. Out of the blue, one Canaanite woman where did live in that area there come a ball out.
Lord, David pick me. Take pity upon me, do. My daughter full of a demon, bad, sir.
Jesus never say a word. Then him follower them come beg him say,
Winner, you should just follow back away and make a bag of nice.
Jesus say,
God only send me to the sheep them from Israel we lost.
But the woman come kneel down in front of Jesus and say,
Lord, help me. Do.
Jesus say,
It no right to take the picnic them food give dog.
Lord, that's a true.
She answer back,
But even the dog them get the crumbs that drop off at their master table.
When Jesus hear that, him say,
Boy, woman, you really trusting in me. Whatever you want to happen, God a gonna make it happen.
Same time, our daughter get better.
Okay, we're going to look at chapter 15, verse 21. And this is when Jesus now confronted, or the woman confronted this Greek woman confronted Jesus regarding a child who was possessed by devil. So you can find all of this not only in Matthew chapter 15, but in Mark chapter 7. You get a different side of the story. What took place here. I want to make you hear both sides of it so you can get a clear picture of what was going on here. But this is Matthew chapter 15 verse 21. Right? Let's hear this one.
After Jesus left the so, him go in at the Tyre and Sidon area. Out of the blue, one Canaanite woman where did live in that area there come a ball out.
Lord, David pick me. Take pity upon me, do. My daughter full of a demon, bad, sir.
Jesus never say a word. Then him follower them come beg him say,
Winner, you should just follow back away and make a bag of nice.
Jesus say,
God only send me to the sheep them from Israel we lost.
But the woman come kneel down in front of Jesus and say,
Lord, help me.
Jesus said,
It no right to take the picnic them food give dog.
Lord, that's a true.
she answered back.
But even the dog them get the crumbs that drop off at their master table.
When Jesus hear that, him say,
Boy, woman, you really trusting on me. Whatever you want to happen, God a gonna make it happen.
same time, our daughter get better.
Okay, let's hear what Mark have to say regarding the same story with the same woman and so on. And so we can, get a better picture of it. Here's Mark chapter 7, verse 23.
After that, Jesus left and go a Tyre area. Him go in a one house, and him never want nobody if he know say him dead, but him couldn't hide. One woman in the area did have one little picnic with demon did control. Same time she hear about Jesus, she go up to him and drop herself on him foot. The woman did talk Greek, and she did belong to the Syrophoenician tribe. She begged Jesus to run out the demon out her daughter, but Jesus answer her say,
Make the picnic them eat them belly full first. Cause it no right to take the picnic them food and give dog.
So she answer him say,
Lord, that's a true. But even the dog them under the table, nyam the crumbs them were dropped from the picnic them.
Then Jesus said to her say,
You see sick what you say? You can't go on home. The demon gone out of your picnic.
When she reached home, she see her picnic lie down on her bed and the demon gone out of her.
So here we are again in same story with Matthew. In Matthew and Mark chapter 7, Matthew 15, Mark chapter 7, same thing. Jesus now left that area when he left the Pharisees and the religious teachers arguing with him about washing the hands and so on. Now, and following certain traditions. Now he met this woman who was a Gentile, and she's a Gentile from Greek. When I say Gentile, understand what I mean. That she's a European. Back in those days, they never called the Europeans. They were called Gentiles, but she's from Greek. But she was living in that area in Canaan, in the land of Canaan at the time, and she met Jesus. That's why Jesus called her, or said to her that it is not good to give the children food to the dogs. And he's speaking to these people, because the Jews call the Gentiles dogs. That's why they refer to the Gentiles as dogs. For what reason, I don't know. That's for you to look into. But anyway, if you want to really understand the book, you have to understand the people of the book. And if you want to understand, I mean, I'm not saying in a lot of things you can't understand it, but if you want to get a complete understanding of it, because sometimes you're going to get stuck and then you're like, I don't understand this because they're saying this and one people saying that. But if you want to understand certain what's going on and geographically and the people and all sort of different things, you have to know who the people are. That this is one set of people and that's another set of people. The Gentiles was living in the Europeans, which you call Gentiles, was living in those areas at the time. He said, Galilee of the Gentiles. Jesus called it Galilean, and but the Gentiles, that's one of the areas that the Gentiles or the Europeans at the time were living, because you have to understand that Palestine were conquered by the Romans, and Romans have control of that area. And a lot of Greeks and different people, Romans and all these other people, came in that land, and they were living in that land. That's why I call it Galilee of the Gentiles, people who sat in darkness now seen a great light. Before, those people never heard of the God of the Bible or have an experience. And that's why Paul was said, you guys were without hope and without God in the world. And you guys who are sometime far off are now made near are nigh. So Paul was the apostle to the Gentiles. Paul was an apostle to the Africans, or he was an apostle to the Babylonians and the Ethiopians. Paul was sent unto the Gentiles. That's what God sent him to speak unto the Gentiles. And while he was there, or amongst them, that was one of his, he preached to them and he gave the message to them, and so on. Anyway, I don't want to get carried away into this right now, because this wasn't the message, or this wasn't what I want to go into right now, because we're going through Matthew, and that's not what I want to talk about. So anyway, he's talking to this woman, but here this woman who was a Gentile who was a stranger to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who don't know this God because they have their own deities that they worship. But she have never met Jesus before. She had never met him, and now, but she heard of him. She heard of all the miracles that this man have been doing throughout the land, and her daughter was possessed with a demon, and she like, you know what, I'm gonna see this man because I know this man can heal me. I heard of the things that he doing. So you see, it's people who, like he said in the scripture, he came unto his own, and his own receive him not. But of such as receive him, to them he gave them power to become children of God. He gave them the right to become children of God. The people who were supposed to believe in him did not believe in him. The people who were supposed to have faith in him did not have faith in him. They question his every motive. They question why he do this, why he do that, and this man eat with publicans and sinners. But the Gentiles didn't, and the strangers and all these other people, they didn't care about all that. They just see him and they believe. They see him and they believe that this man here is the Son of God. This man here is the one, and they trust him. Because when Jesus said to the woman, I come to the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. I come to my own people. That's what I'm trying to tell them. I come to my own people, not to you guys. And she said, yes, Lord, have mercy. She would not give up. She's not going to take no for an answer. She's not going to leave him. She's like Jacob. I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. I'm not going to let you go until you give me what I want, what I come here for. And then she said, yes. And when he said to her, it's not good to give the children crumbs, take the children meat and give to the dogs. You imagine that? You tell that to her face. But of course they know that the Jews call them, dogs and so on. But say, yes, Lord, even the dogs eat the crumbs that came from the master's table. I am not asking for much. What I'm asking you for is a small thing. And I know you can do it. And so Jesus said, my woman, you have great faith. And he gave her our heart's desire, which was to heal our child. And later on from then, Jesus left from there and he went down there and to the people, and the people, he fed them with the fishes and the bread and so on. He didn't want to send them home because they'd been with him for 3 days and he didn't want to let them go. So he fed them, and then they were on their way. And he fed them in another part of the scripture. These people want to take him and make him king because he gave them the bread. They don't, and in another part he was saying that you guys don't want to, you guys not here, you guys don't believe in me because I've given you gospel. You guys believe in me because I give you food to eat. Some greedy set of people. All you guys are following me for the food, but don't follow me for the food that perish. But come get the food from me that is eternal. So I'm gonna leave off right here. I went over 4 minutes than I wanted to go. I want to go 20 minutes, but I'm like 24 minutes right now. I don't want to go too long because when you go too long, nobody want to listen to 24 minutes, and especially nobody want to hear me for 24 minutes. I don't want to hear myself for 24 minutes. All right, may God bless you. I determined I'm going to finish this, and so far, so good. We have Matthew chapter 15, and we're going to touch again on Matthew chapter 16 next time. May God bless you. All right, have a good night.